If you've read Qarnita Loxton's Being Kari and Being Lily, then listen up, Being Shelley. The third book in the series has been out for a couple of months now. In this offering, Qarnita takes us into the life of 44-year-old Shelley Jacobsen as she tries to pull herself out of a hole where she feels trapped when she starts cyber dating a young surfing instructor. Well, to take us through the Shelley's bumpy road, Qarnita is now joining us from our Sea Point studio in Cape Town. A very good morning to you, Qarnita. This is your third book in the series in 3 years. Speak to us about where the idea to pen Shelley's story came from.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Being Shelley is the third book in a series. It goes about a group of friends in Cape Town, and each book, Being Kari, Being Lily, and then Being Shelley, tells the story of each of these independent friends. And so the story of Shelley came to me, I guess she'd been calling me after I wrote Lily. And it was the idea of a woman in a long-term relationship, seemingly having it all, the children and the husband and the coffee shop that she always dreamed of having, and how things go pear-shaped for her when she employs a young surfer in her coffee shop.
And indeed, Shelley's dreams kind of look like they're coming true when she meets this younger man who's Wade, a surfing coach, on Valentine's Day. Without giving too much away, what are the dynamics of that relationship that emerges?
Well, Shelley is 44 years old and Wade is 22 years old. So there's a 20-year age difference between them. But more significantly than the age difference is that he's also her employee. So he works for her in a coffee shop. He takes her kids surfing. He's a surf coach. So the dynamics are not just the age difference between them, but also that of an employer-employee relationship, and also an older woman in a position of power relative to a younger man who works for her.
Now, you were talking about the circle of friends, these three friends, and I want to find out from you, tell us, bring us into that circle and just capture for us the friendship that exists between these three ladies and what kind of impact that has now on Shelley's relationship with this younger man.
Okay, well, there are actually four friends. So it's Kari, Lily, Shelley, and Diane. And they are sort of mid-30s to early 40s. They live in Cape Town. They're very connected to each other. They live in the same gated estate. So they kind of share much of the everyday life with each other. And the stories go around the support that women offer each other, particularly in that stage of life, around relationships, around children, around work. And so it's a reflection, I guess, of what I've experienced in the supportive relationships that women have with each other. And so each of these women experience a crisis in their lives, and the books tell of how their friends support them through this crisis.
Now, Lily and Shelley are sort of in the same group of, the circle of friends, but their stories are quite different. Bring us into that.
Yes, they are very different. I think it's an extension for me of the differences that we find in the South African community, is that we are all friends and we do share commonalities, but we do also have very diverse experiences. So Kari is a young woman from a Muslim family who's married an Afrikaans man, and her crisis comes about when her husband has a one-night stand and she's forced to reconcile with her Muslim family. So it's a dynamic of finding her identity, finding comfort within a faith that she used to practice. And that's very different from the story of Lily, who is a late 30-year-old, in her late 30s, and she's getting married for the first time. And so the story there goes around the expectation of love and marriage and what it means to get married in today's world, with extended families, with stepchildren, with all of that not so happy ever after endings. And then comes Shelley, who experiences a crisis where she is attracted to a younger man. So their life experiences and the crises that they have are very different from each other. But there's enough commonality between the three of them to support each other. Because ultimately that's what they are, is that they are just friends to each other.
Absolutely. Now, Qarnita, it's often said that the devil is in the detail. I mean, you are so detailed in this book. Did you have to do an extensive amount of research just to be able to capture the moments that you've so accurately and beautifully managed to capture in this book?
I did quite a lot of research. Well, Shelley is married to a Jewish man, and part of the conflict in her life is that she's not Jewish. and she feels an outsider in his family and towards his faith. So I did quite a lot of research around some of the practices and the experiences around Jewish life. So I spoke to a lot of friends. I did a lot of research so that was accurate. And then also Shelley's relationship with Wade is an inappropriate one. Because of the employer-employee relationship. And so I did a lot of research around sexual harassment and processes at the CCMA. And so that level of detail, for me, I absolutely wanted to get right, especially around the CCMA processes, because I am a lawyer. I wanted to get that kind of detail completely right.
And lastly, yeah, your books have really been compared to the likes of Marianne Keyes and Sophie Kinsella. What does that mean to you?
For me, it's an absolute honor. They are books that I enjoy reading myself. I think they are for intelligent readers who sometimes want just a little bit of a break from the heavy headlines, especially in this time of year and the kind of lives that we lead. Sometimes there is, and I think there is a place for intelligent humor that we can all relate to. So I'm thrilled that there's a comparison.
Oh, Qarnita, thank you so much for your time. I'm definitely going to picking up a copy of your book. In fact, the entire series, as I don't own it yet, and those are going to be my December reads. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was Qarnita Loxton joining us from our Cape Town studios, and she was speaking to us about her latest books titled Being Shelley, which is, of course, part of a trilogy.